Dr. Manmohan Singh, the economist who devised economic liberalization. The silent Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh, was a man of great vision, which led India to become an economic superpower. The anecdotes that elucidate his illustrious life speak for themselves on his goals and achievements as Prime Minister. He was instrumental in launching India on its way to economic superpower that owned his credentials as a great leader with vision and innovative ideas. His beliefs and dedication can be traced in various anecdotes. A humble human being with a soft spoken demeanor, Dr. Manmohan Singh will be remembered as a man of thought and integrity. The leaps and bounds with which he moved India forward are remarkable. It was under his leadership that India witnessed the highest growth rate in its history. His premiership witnessed unprecedented growth and prosperity. It was Singh who delivered the liberalized budget that unleashed the spirit of India. His budget speech was quite historic. Since then, India has changed dramatically. No power on earth can stop an idea whose time has come. Let the whole world hear it loud and clear. India is now wide and awake. We shall prevail, we shall overcome. A man with a very different but phenomenal perspective of the world economy apparently was committed to reforms and actually bringing it to the table. The tools and results. The right time, the right man set India forward in the path of growth and prosperity. Formative years. Manmohan Singh was born to Gurmukh Singh and Amrit Kaur on September 26, 1932 in Gah, Punjab to a Sikh family. He lost his mother when he was very young and was brought up by his grandmother and grew more close to her. After the partition of India, his family emigrated to Amritsar, India. Education. He studied at Hindu College in Amritsar, ranking first throughout his college career. He was enrolled in Punjab University studying economics and received his bachelor's degree in 1952 and master's in 1954. He completed his economic tripos at the University of Cambridge as a Fellow of St. John's College in 1957. After Cambridge, Singh returned to India and served as a professor at Punjab University. In 1960, he went to Oxford University for DPhil, where he was a fellow at Nuffield College. His 1962 doctoral thesis under the supervision of IMD Little was titled India's Export Performance, 1951 to 1960. Export Prospects and Policy Implications. He always stressed the fact that in every human's life, luck and destiny both play their part, and that he was fortunate in many ways. Had the privilege to attend schools trained by qualified good teachers who motivated him to think fresh, a legacy he said he would never forget. Family. Singh married Gursharan Kaur in 1958. They have 3 daughters, Upinder Singh, Daman Singh and Amrit Singh. Career. Manmohan Singh enjoyed being a teacher, the ambition he carried with him since school days, and he didn't want to take a job in politics initially. After completing his DPhil, Singh returned to India. He was a senior lecturer of economics at Punjab University from 1957 to 1959, and he continued to be an economics professor till 1965. Then he went to work for the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development in 1966. Later, he was appointed as an advisor to the Ministry of Foreign Trade by Lalit Narayan Mishra, in recognition of Singh's talent as an economist. In 1972, Singh was Chief Economic Advisor to the Ministry of Finance, and in 1976 he was Secretary to the Ministry of Finance. In 1980 to 1982, he was on the Planning Commission. In 1982, he was appointed Governor of the Reserve Bank of India under then Finance Minister Pranab Mukherjee and held office until 1985. He went on to become the Vice President of the Planning Commission from 1985 to 1987. After his tenure at the Planning Commission, he was Secretary General of the South Commission, an independent economic policy think tank based in Geneva, Switzerland, from 1987 to November 1990. Singh returned from Geneva to India in November 1990 and served as the Indian Prime Minister's advisor on economic affairs during VP Singh's tenure. In March 1991, he became chairman of the University Grants Commission. Entering into political scenario. In June 1991, India's Prime Minister at the time, P.V. Narasimha Rao, chose Manmohan Singh to be his finance minister, serving as the finance minister of India. The 1991 crisis. In 1991, India faced its worst economic crisis and was on the brink of sovereign default. The Gulf War of 1990 to 91 led to a sharp rise in oil prices and a drop in remittances from Indian workers working abroad. This led to a sharp depletion of India's foreign exchange reserves to less than $6 billion. The Indian fiscal deficit was close to 8.5% of gross domestic product. The balance of payments deficit was huge and the current account deficit was close to 3.5% of Indian GDP. At this point, the Indian government requested funds from the supranational International Monetary Fund, which by providing financial assistance to India, imposed several conditions on India's economic policy. In essence, the policy dictated by the IMF meant that ubiquitous licensing Raj should be eliminated and India's attempts to create a state-controlled economy should be stopped. Manmohan explained to the Prime Minister and the party that India is facing an unprecedented crisis. So, Chidambaram and Manmohan explained to the parties that the economy would collapse unless regulation was lifted. Trade policy. To the party's disappointment, Rao allowed Manmohan to deregulate the Indian economy. Subsequently, Singh, who until then had been one of the most influential architects of India's socialist economy, reduced state control over the economy and reduced import taxes. New industrial policy. Rao and Singh then implemented policies to open up the economy and change India's socialist economy to a more capitalist one. In the process, by dismantling the license Raj, a system that inhibited the prosperity of private businesses. Economic liberalization. The union budget that changed India. On July 24, 1991, during P.V. Narasimha Rao's regime, Dr. Manmohan Singh had delivered the liberalized budget that unleashed the animal spirit of Indian economy and made history. Since then, India has changed dramatically. The reforms were undertaken at a time when India was facing its worst economic crisis. Exactly 30 years have passed since these historic reforms that helped India avert a major economic crisis and placed it on the high growth trajectory. Financially, in 1993, Singh offered his resignation from the post of Finance Minister. Premiership. First term 2004 to 2009 and second term 2009 to 2014. Dr. Manmohan Singh took the oath as the Prime Minister of India on 22 May 2004. Economic policy. During his tenure as Prime Minister, Singh continued to drive the growth of the Indian market. Singh, together with the former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram, led the period when the Indian economy grew at an economic growth rate of 8 to 9%. In 2007, India achieved the highest GDP growth rate of 9% and became the second fastest growing major economy in the world. In 2005, Singh's ministry passed the National Employment Guarantee Act. Singh's government continued the Golden Quadrilateral and the Highway Modernization Program initiated by the Vajpayee's government. Singh has also worked on the reform of the banking and financial sector as well as public sector companies. The Finance Ministry has worked to alleviate farmers' debts and to support industry policies. In 2005, the Singh's government introduced value-added tax, replacing sales tax. Healthcare and education policy. In 2005, Prime Minister Singh and his government's Ministry of Health launched the National Rural Health Mission. On July 2, 2009, his ministry introduced the Right to Education Act. The Singh government also continued the Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan program. The program includes the introduction and improvement of midday meals and the opening of schools throughout India, especially in rural areas to combat illiteracy. Security and Home Affairs Policy. Singh's government has strengthened counter-terrorism laws by amending the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. The National Investigation Agency was also established shortly after the terrorist attacks in Mumbai in November 2008 as the need for a central agency to fight terrorism arose. In addition, the Unique Identification Authority of India was established in February 2009, an agency responsible for the implementation of the Multi-Purpose National Identity Card with the aim of increasing national security and facilitating e-governance. The important National Rural Employment Guarantee Act and the Right to Information Act were passed by the Parliament in 2005 during his tenure. The law on the right of children to free and compulsory education was enacted on August 4, 2009, which describes the modalities of the importance of free and compulsory education for children aged 6 to 14 in India under Article 21A of the Indian Constitution. Singh's premiership officially ended at noon on May 17, 2014. Views and opinions. Message to the youth of our country. Youth have to plan their own career. However, India has tremendous potential to emerge as a powerful nation. Each one of us have to contribute to the development of Indian economy and politics, where people will lead a life of dignity and self-respect with adequate amount of productive employment opportunities for youth. His comments on demonetization. He arose to highlight some of the problems that have arisen after the decision to demonetize currency note. He pointed out that in the process of demonetization, monumental mismanagement has been undertaken. He stressed to take note of the grievances of ordinary people who suffered because of the imposition on the country overnight by the Prime Minister. He said so with all responsibility that the outcome is vague yet, and the anticipated waiting itself is disastrous for the poorer sections of the country. Moreover, this decision can weaken and erode the citizens' confidence in currency and banking system and urge the PM to come up with constructive proposal to implement the scheme and prevent the distress caused to common people. Awards and honors. Dr. Singh's commitment to development and his many achievements have been recognized through the many honors that have been conferred upon him. These include the Padma Vibhushan in 1987, the Euro Money Award for Finance Minister of the Year in 1993, the Asia Money Award for Finance Minister of the Year in both 1993 and 1994, and the Jawaharlal Nehru Birth Sanitary Award of the Indian Science Congress in 1995. Conclusion. The economist with policy ideas ahead of their time, Dr. Manmohan Singh served as the 13th Prime Minister of India from 2004 to 2014, was also the first Sikh Prime Minister of India. A great visionary with an enormous will to work selflessly for the betterment of the nation, he devoted himself to reform and its results. His administration has put India on the trajectory of the highest growth. His humble and gentle demeanor has always been underestimated. However, his reforms and innovative ideas, his contribution cannot be ignored. Although his silence was questionable, but his words were always on point, relevant and had tremendous power and validity. He indeed is the gentleman Prime Minister of India.